Dear chess friends, welcome to your side of chess channel and welcome to really one of the most spectacular and most brilliant games played by the latest version of Stockfish, the powerful Stockfish 16. Today we see the fish battling it out against one of the most popular openings against d4. Today we see the fish battling it out against the popular Grünfeld defense. And this game is again so brutal, so spectacular, so wild, so tactical. In my opinion, the Stockfish loves to play against tactical openings, tactical defenses like the Grünfeld defense, rather than to play against some solid lines like the Queen's Gambit decline, maybe the Nxd5 in defense. When there is a certain opportunity to create madness, Stockfish will do it. And the Grünfeld defense is, I think, such an opening because with the Grünfeld defense, you're playing in a more open game, more direct game with the black pieces too. So basically, you're trying also to win some games with the black pieces, not only to play draw. So the Grünfeld is of course a powerful weapon against d4, but look at this, what the fish is doing, as I said, really against one of the most popular openings against d4. So let's start with the game with the white pieces. The fish opened with the move d4. Black Marlin engine response was knight to f6. We have now the move c4, g6, knight to c3. Now after move d5 we have the Grünfeld event. C takes d, exchange variation, e4. This very common approach, hitting the center. And now after move knight to c3, b takes c3. Usually after bishop to g7 and bishop to e3, black hits the center immediately with the move c5. Of course, d takes c5 is not good because of bishop to c3. So we have here now rook to c1. Stockfish continues to develop further, and of course defend simply the structure c3 d4. This c3 d4 structure gives you of course a healthy position, gives you of course this powerful central control. When you have this pawns advanced, then you're controlling of course many squares on your opponent's side of the board. After rook to c1 we have castling, knight to f3, and basically now there are two good approaches here. You can play queen to a5, hitting immediately the pawn on c3 and continuing your pressure against this c3 d4 structure, or you can play it with bishop to g4 because the knight on f3 is of course protecting the d4 and also is supported by the c3 pawn. So it's now basically your choice what are you trying to do. In my opinion, the better approach is to play bishop to g4, getting your piece out, and then after something like bishop to e2, maybe then queen to a5, or maybe also to put more pressure with knight to c6. But here the prearranged line by the organizer was now to play the move queen to a5. Stockfish continues with queen to d2, protects now everything, keeps here really a solid structure in the center of the board. We have now rook to d8, placing the rook where already the queen is. Now the black Marlin engine is of course in some lines somehow trying to hit the d file, is somehow trying to break the d file here, and of course endanger the queen because the rook is now very dangerous here on this potentially open file, the open d file. So here Stockfish doesn't care. Stockfish is like Hikaru Nakamura, simply doesn't care, plays now the brilliant move h4. Simply plays in the most aggressive way that you can actually play the Grünfeld defense, hitting on the flanks immediately, although you're stuck with the king in the center. But Stockfish doesn't care, as I said. He's simply trying to create this idea. Bishop to h6, trading off the bishops here on g7, open up the h file, and then maybe create sort of a rook and queen battery, and of course deliver checkmate on the h file. That's now the strategic goal. So here Black Marlin continues with knight to c6. We have now the move d5 by Stockfish, and now Black Marlin challenges the center with the move e6. That's the move that we have expected, but Stockfish doesn't care at all. Stockfish is not worried about the tensions that could happen on the d file. Stockfish continues simply with the normal progress with the move h5. And what to do here? In the game, Black Marlin played now e takes d5, but again, Stockfish plays really the most brilliant idea, plays simply the best line, plays now h takes g6, simply allows now even this line, maybe d takes e4. But look at this, if d takes e4 happens, if you play something like this wasn't played in the game, but actually Black is facing already huge tactical problems. Then look at this, g takes h7 is happening, you play king to h8, and now White can even ignore the threats on the d file, can simply play here bishop to h6, because look at this, after rook to d2 we simply pick up now the bishop, it comes with a check, you have to accept now the challenge, and now we promote to queen, and after a couple more moves you can get even checkmate, in this way with a beautiful knight to h2 move. So this is not working. Also after move bishop to h6, for instance, if you play here bishop to f6, it's still not working. Again, we don't have to react. We play simply bishop to g5. Again, after the same tactical sequence, rook to d2, then again bishop to f6 is winning the game. You could maybe try again to retreat, but then of course you lose the rook here on d8. So it's not working. Knight to d8, for instance, and then knight to g5 is winning the game. We support here the attack. So it's not working. So after move h takes g6, the most important thing here to notice is that actually black has to play now h takes g6. So there is still this tension in the center of the board. But again, Stockfish is not reacting, although there is simply no more threat with g takes h7. Stockfish simply continues with bishop to h6 anyway. And again, let's see what happens if you play here d takes e4. If you again open the d file, and again if you try to attack the queen, then again comes a similar motif, not the same, but now again we pick up the bishop. After bishop to g7 and rook to d2, we simply play a beautiful bishop to f6, and there's simply no good defense against rook to h8. You can just prolong the game by maybe sacking some pieces, but this is game over for sure here for black. So also, if you play here king to g7, obviously then the queen is coming active into the game. So again, game over for black. Very, very wild stuff how Stockfish is performing this attack. So after move h takes g6, as we said, h takes g6, now again bishop to h6, and the black Marlin engine tried to get out of this mess with bishop to f6. What you could also do, instead of bishop to f6, you could maybe try rook to e8. This was also one of my lines that I've analyzed at home. I was curious why didn't black Marlin played this line. Rook to e8 seems to me like a tempting move, but again with the same problems. Bishop to g7, rook to e4, we cover. You can of course pick up here the piece, but now knight to g5. It's very, very dangerous. The rook has to step back, and there is actually even a game in the database between Predke and Artemiev in which Artemiev played now the move rook to e8, but here after rook to h7 and king to g8, here Predke didn't maybe react in the most correct way. He played now the move rook to f7, allowed here Artemiev to get with the bishop out with a beautiful tempo with bishop to g4. I don't want to show now the whole game, but actually this is not the correct way here to proceed. After king to g8, for instance, king to f1 would be here the winning move for white. It's a strange move sort of to get your king somehow here, but look at this. After queen to d8, we get here the queen on f4. Now we threaten to pick up the piece with the queen, and even if you cover now with the bishop on f5, then queen to h4 is simply winning the game on spot. You can of course sacrifice the queen. We pick up this one, and now okay, you could also pick up the rook, but in my opinion this whole defense is not working for black. The king is naked. Maybe in the later stage we can also include this rook into the game, so the game is tactically over, I think, here for black. So also after move bishop to h6, what you could do, we have seen now this analysis, bishop rook to e8. We have seen also here the bishop to f6 move that the black Marlin engine will play. D takes e4, we have seen is not working. Also what you could try is here this line, bishop to h8, but now with bishop to g5, again we hit the rook, maybe the rook drops back, and now we can even sack the rook here for the exchange. Now after bishop to f6, again you face many tactical problems. Again the queen comes on dark horse, queen to h4, queen to h8 will eventually happen. So it's simply not working, and the cool part is that of course the knight on g5 is protecting now also the pawn on e4. So there's simply too many tactical opportunities in any of this line. So this was our analysis. After here the move h takes g6, as we said, here bishop to h6, you cannot retreat to h8, you cannot play rook to e8, you cannot play d takes e4. So that's why here bishop to f6 was played now by black Marlin. Stockfish continues with bishop to g5 anyway, and here again if you play d takes e4, again comes this tactical motif that we have seen previously, bishop to f6 with the checkmate threat on h8. So that's why after bishop to g5, black Marlin tried to retreat here, but Stockfish simply grabs the piece. Bishop to d8, queen to d8, e takes d5, knight to e5, knight takes e5, bishop to e5, but now after move g3 and bishop to g2, it's obviously now a messed up game here for black. What to do here? Here in the game, bishop to f6 was played by black Marlin. Stockfish continues with a good plan, bishop to h3, forcing a trade of bishops, which is a good choice, I think. Bishop to h3, rook to h3, queen to d7, and now here Stockfish simply retreat, and now has of course the situation where white is up the exchange. Okay, maybe the king is a little bit naked, but after rook to d8 here, c4 was played by Stockfish, simply supporting now the pawn, and Still, of course, it's a solid structure here for white in the center of the board. We have b5. Here, Black Marlin is somehow trying to disconnect his pawns, but Stockfish simply plays a solid king to f1. And even if you play, I don't know, b takes c4, rook to c4, queen to d5, then the queens will be off the board. The game is simplified. White would love, I think, even now to trade off the queens going into favorable endgame with the bishop, with both rooks against the bishop and the rook. So it's obviously a completely winning game then for white. So after move king to f1, bishop to d4, queen to g5, b takes c4, rook to c4. Again, you see, you can maybe trade off more pieces, but then the game, as I said, is simply simplified. But now after rook to e8 that Black Marlin played, Stockfish plays now beautiful tactic in the end. Rook takes d4. Of course, getting rid of the key defender of the king, trying, of course, now to sneak in with the queen and the rook. That was the whole strategy in the beginning. We're trying to deliver checkmate with the rook and queen's activity. And after c takes d4, now another beautiful move here by Stockfish. First, rook to h4, because if you play here something like, I don't know, queen to f6 immediately, then you get checked, and after a couple more moves here you could face many tactical problems on light square. So of course here you play king to g2, and now queen to d5 is very dangerous, of course, also for white to handle. So that's why you have to be correct here. First, after move rook to h4 was played by Stockfish, not allowing any dangerous checks. In the game we have now king to g7, queen to h6 now by Stockfish, king to f6, rook to f4. Now Stockfish plays a beautiful attack against this naked king. King to d6, rook, king to g2, queen to b7, and after rook to d4, queen to e7, and in this particular position the Black Marlin angel resign. Of course, we'll simply play rook to f4. Even if you play something like f5, then of course always this check is working, so it's also a messed up game. Many tactical problems here for black. The king is in the center of the board, and the game is messed up for sure. So brilliant game by the fish against the Grünfeld defense. I really enjoyed it because many of us, I think, in this lines in the beginning of this tactical sequence would maybe try to retreat here. Stockfish simply continued the pressure, went for this aggressive line with bishop to h6, forced basically a trade of pieces. But when Black Marlin noticed that the bishop has to stay on the board to defend the king, now the rook is lost, and after a couple more moves it was an easy win for Stockfish 16. So brilliant attack. If you want to see more aggressive chess games like this, check out our commented chess games played by computer series with some more Stockfish 16 games, Alpha 0, Lila 0 chess games, Dragon Engine chess games. In my opinion, really one of my favorite lists on my YouTube chess channel. And if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say? Chess is the best, of course.